Hello, humans of the internet. Welcome to Azurhia Under the Hood. Um, we are, as always, building a world. That's what we're doing. So I spent quite a bit of time over the weekend playing with this program, which is called Oblivion. No, Obsidian, not Oblivion. Which is what I'm using to like build out my skill trees and stuff for the game system. So what I actually want to do is try to spend some time today pulling some of this stuff in the world building side of it in line with the stuff I've been doing with the ancestries in the game system, just to try to make everything consistent. So basically I'm going to destroy all of these, which are the Pathfinder ancestries, because that's what we were using, and replace them with the ones I've spent the last however many weeks coming up with. So if you're new here, I am building a game system, but I'm also building a world for that game system to live in. And it is obviously based a little bit on Pathfinder and D&D, because those are the games I've played, but I've been trying really hard to pull it away from that. So I've been pulling away from things that obviously are, IP of those systems. And then also asking some questions about what I actually want in my world and how I want that to work. So that's what we're going to work on today, is get some of this. Oh, that was very, very loud in my face. I'm just going to make this so I can still see you guys. So on my other screen, I just have I actually need to not use the spreadsheet. I'm not going to use the spreadsheet. I'm going to actually use the new thing, which is called Obsidian. Is that what I said? Obsidian. So it's basically what I did was I went onto the internet and I said, how do I build a skill tree? Give me a tool for building a skill tree. And this is what it gave me. And it's actually very fucking cool. I'm enjoying it a lot. So I knew nothing about this program a week ago, but I've been playing with it a lot, and it is allowing me to like build out the logic of essentially leveling characters. That's kind of what I'm working on. So I've done a lot of work on the ancestry side. I figured I'd start with ancestries because frankly they're a lot easier. And what I've tried to do is strip out, so D&D and Pathfinder both have a lot of what really amounts to stereotyping, a lot of stuff that when you pick an ancestry you just automatically get. Like if you're a dwarf, you know about mining. And so I've stripped out a lot of that stuff because I'm like, well, what if you're a dwarf who's born in Murterra, which is a port city, right, and has no mines nearby? You're probably not going to know about mining. So my ancestry stuff is very basic, and it's really just what genetic advantages would you have from being this particular ancestry. If you are a monkey person, you will have a tail, and that will mean that you can use that prehensile tail as an extra hand. If you're a cat person, you're probably going to be just naturally inclined to be better at climbing than most people. Like those kind of things, the stuff that is literally in your body. And everything else is going into backgrounds. Everything else, because it makes no sense to me. Like if you're a dwarf baby and you're left on the steps of a church in Mertera one day as a newborn baby, and you're brought up in that place, you wouldn't speak Dwarven because language is acquired. So unless you're raised by someone who speaks that language, or you make an effort in your life to go and learn it, which is also a reasonable thing to do, but you don't just automatically know Dwarven because you are in a dwarf body. That's not how that works. That's not how language acquisition works. So basically all of those things, all of the nurture stuff is going into backgrounds, and what's left in ancestries is just the basics. So we're going to start by deleting everything that's here. Because that's changed too. Some of these things we do have, but I actually just kind of want to start from scratch and put in everything that this one might actually be alright, because I basically right from the start made changelings. Oh yeah, nah, we're gonna chuck that too. We're gonna put it all in a single format, and I have dwarfs and stuff, but I've actually split them up. So I have different, like I have desert dwarfs and mountain dwarfs, and and I've made up names for everybody, almost everybody, not quite everybody. Basically anyone who had a name that could possibly even loosely be Wizards of the Coast or Paizo IP has been changed. And even some of the others, because a lot of things like Ifrit, for example, is an old Arabic word. Like it's a, so where it's a little bit potentially culturally appropriative, I've tried to switch it out as well some of the time. I am, however, a folklore nerd, so there is still some just like fundamental folklore stuff in there. I'm still debating with myself whether I'm going to include undead ancestries. I don't think I am. Oh, crap. Didn't mean to do that. I don't think I am, and the reason for that is that I think that if you are undead, you were something else first, right? So even undead stuff is going to be more backgroundy. Like if you're a vampire, you're still going to have at some point been a something. A gnome or a something. Alright, so we're going to just work our way through these. So the first one is Aranya. Aranya are basically spider people. I'm going to just create the article because I want to see what is in the... Why has it done it? Oh, did I do it twice like an empty? Okay. Let's open this up. At some point, I'm going to have to commission people to draw all these things for me. But in the meantime, let's just do this. I'm going to just pull this text straight out of here. I'm going to just edit it so that it reads like actual sentences and not just notes. Aranya are spider shapeshifter people from Malahia. No, people traditionally originating in Malahia. See, I've taken a lot of this out of... I'm going to just actually get rid of it all. There's still a lot of leftover bits and pieces that I've taken out of other things. Is that name from Italian? Oh, Spanish, but yes. Because the spider in Spanish is something like that. But similar, because they're both Latin languages, so it's probably similar in Italian. Spanish, spider. Cool. No, I wanted to know what Spanish is in spider. Translate. Araña. Yeah. So in Italian, it's probably something very similar because Latin languages are like that. No, it's not. It's not. Ragnoll. Different. Anyway, yes, that is where the name comes from. Again, if you're new here, a lot of the time the way I make names is by putting a word into translate and just fucking with it until it sounds like something I like. And then I will adjust it sometimes or tweak it or combine things together. Because I like languages and they're fun, and I have some little nods to my own my own kind of historical languages. Like you'll see a lot of Zulu because that's where I'm from. You'll see quite a bit of Maori because that's where I am now, and then others are just things that I've pulled from things that sounded pretty in Google Translate that I've taken and then like tried to change so that it's not blatantly obvious that I've just used the, whatever, some random language that most people don't know for wood to have a wood giant. I did do the giants over the weekend, so we now have giants. Okay, Rania are spider shapeshifter people, traditionally also, it's really fun to try and make Americans say Zulu words. I have no shame. In Malahia, my headphones are beeping, which means other people have been using them and not charging them. Do I even have a charger here? Ah, it's disappeared. Oh well, if you should stop hearing me, let me know. I'll have to go and get a charger. They use the word traditionally. Historically, there we go. Historically, lived in small. What does it say here? Community. Giant web community. Oh my goodness. Communities lived peacefully. There we go. Then I can get everything in there. Peacefully in giant web communities in the jungle. They are shapeshifters and have a humanoid form as well as a spooder form. If you come across this and you don't know anything about me, which I guess might happen eventually someday, I will tell you now that I'm an animal person and I like animals a lot, and there are almost no animals I can't appreciate, even if I don't love them. So I don't have any spider fear or bug fear or snake fear or any of those things. There is exactly one creature that I kill on sight. One. And that's mosquitoes. That's it. Everything else, I'm gonna take them outside, girl. But mosquitoes can die. Sorry. That's how I feel. As well as a spider form, between which they can switch at will. Okay, what have we got here? Scientific classification. Oh my goodness, don't even put me down that road. Okay, origin, ancestry, describes members of the same species with different phenotypical characteristics like skin melanin, muscular or body distribution, hair growth, etc. A good example of clear and quite diverse ancestries are modern dog breeds. Oh, okay. Oh, that's actually going to be useful for some of them. So we can do... that's cool. Alright. So we can do, like, dwarfs, and then the different kinds of dwarfs. Awesome. What about parasites? Well, I can't kill them on sight, because mostly I can't see them. But most of the time, they're also just trying to live. I realize that mosquitoes are just trying to live, but they're trying to live by sucking my blood, and fuck those guys. Insects. I like insects. Generally speaking, I like insects. I like make bee gardens and you know. So we have a butterfly garden that is a giant swan plant for the monarchs, and then a whole bunch of different like flowers and stuff that are for bees and butterflies, and it gets covered in little monarch caterpillars, and it's great. Okay, geographic distribution. So what I'm gonna do here is where they are. Oh, I don't have Malahia in there. All right. Cool. Related ethnicities, cultural groups related to this species. Meh. Okay, discovered by. Nah, fuck you. Conservation status. That's hilarious. That actually might become relevant because I have a whole like thing about magical components and the ethical farming of magical components. Okay. Anatomy describes the physical design of the species, number of limbs, muscular and skeletal structure. Alright, so Aranya can appear as in either humanoid or spider form. In their spider form, they are indistinguishable from ordinary giant spiders. As if giant spiders are ordinary, but this is a fantasy world, of course they are. From ordinary giant spiders. I don't know what we're listening to, but it's fucking dope. Oh, it's gone now. Oh well. From ordinary giant spiders, they will have a specific spider form with specific identifiable markings for those who in their humanoid form they may exhibit some spider-like tendencies such as fine hairs on their toe and finger pads or uncanny eyes. Their humanoid skin tones usually more or less match their spider form skin tones and may include markings that resemble tattoos or birthmarks that are also echoed on their also match their spider form. Does that make sense? The other thing I'm trying to do is avoid saying they just look human because this world has no humans in it, which is challenging. So they have the basic humanoid structure, but they're not human and they don't look human because humans don't exist. They will have specific spider form with specific identifiable markings. In their humanoid form, they may exhibit some spider-like tendencies, such as fine hairs on their toes and finger pads, or uncanny eyes. Their humanoid skin tones usually more or less match their spider form skin tones, and may include markings that resemble tattoos or birthmarks that also match their spider form. That'll do. All right. Oh, I closed the spreadsheet. That was silly of me. That's fine. I built a skill tree already for these guys, so I'm gonna have to reopen the spreadsheet because I still have information in both places. I'm just gonna have to cross-reference because of. Okay, so they have dark vision. Put in here already. We'll just do that for now. And then they also have. What else did we give them? Oh no, they only had that one. Cool. Genetics and reproduction. I guess they reproduce like spiders do. Nick wants to know if you have a primate-based race. Yes, because I have all the animals, is the short answer to your question. They are called, if I remember correctly, nkau, because that is the Zulu word for monkey. And I love it. And essentially, nkau encompasses all the different primates. So you would pick kind of the origin and then build your character around that origin. The whole point of all the animal races is that in Azurhia, the lines between sentient or like people, quote unquote people, and animals are very blurry, because magic, right? And I maintain that if you can cast a spell called Speak with Animals or Speak with Plants, you have to be assuming a certain level of sentience and understanding in animals and plants, which means that you have to consider them to some degree people. And if you, the moment you do that, it's like, okay, well, where's that line? And what if we just blur the fuck out of that line? So that's what I've done, because it's fun. And also because players fucking love to play animals, I've realized. Like, they love it. So give the people what they want. All right, I'm not going to get into genetics and reproduction right now. Growth rate and stages. Typical life expectancy, I assume that's where I would put this, is 50 rotations. Aranya reach adulthood after 10 rotations. The other thing I did yesterday was I standardized measurements into blocks. So movement speed is done based on blocks rather than feet. And the reason I did that is because it's always fucking pissed me off that all TTRPGs are not metric. The whole world is metric, you guys. Come join us. Traditionally... Whoa. I can spell, I swear. So I basically just standardized it and made it based on like map blocks. How many map blocks can you move? The Aranya in the Malahaya jungle on what's it called? What's it called? Wrong one. This one. Ayabuff, right? Ayabuff? Nope. Fistral. It is there! Oh, but I didn't have an article, that's why. Okay. On Fistral. They build giant web communities in the canopies of trees. Getting into these things too much. Behavior and psychology. They are individual people, and therefore That depends. Okay, sections. That's just sections. Oh, wait, is there more here? Sometimes there are multiple things. Extended biological traits. Ah, look at that. There it is. 50. Average height, average weight, average length, geographic distribution. Aranya can be found across Azurhia now, though they do prefer tropical climates. Many Aranya have found work on ships where they're easy to climb and I say, but they often can't swim, and then I'm like, they could learn to swim. But also, historically on Earth, many sailors couldn't swim, so found work on ships with the ability to climb and rapidly mend cloth has been invaluable. Ah, now I've given them webs. Motherfucker. I didn't have that before. But it makes sense that they would have spidey webs. Pew pew. My headphones are beeping at me. I'm gonna have to go find a charger. Can you still hear me? Tell me if you stop being able to hear me, okay? Facial characteristics and features, body. I've kind of already spoken about a lot of these things. Domestication. Do not. Alright, let us have a look at what this looks like and whether we need to faff about with the format of it a bit. Well, we need to put some line breaks in, definitely. Okay. So we're going to put in a couple of line breaks there. We're going to put in I can hear. Does this race have web shooting powers? Apparently, yes. I didn't think about it until like 2 seconds ago, but yes, it makes sense that they would, right? Okay, I'm gonna take that out because it is. Oh no, actually, maybe not. Maybe not. Just one, thanks. Okay, and then I have to give them web shooting powers now. Motherfucker. I wasn't gonna do that. It hadn't occurred to me. I just want to be clear that this is rotations. Alright, height, weight, length. Make it a once per day thing. Yeah, that would make sense. Like a limited ability to. But like I just got done saying they build these gigantic web communities, right? So presumably they can make webs. But yes, limiting the amount of webbing they can produce in a day is the way to go. Okay. Average intelligence. I'm not doing those things. That's stupid. Facial characteristics and features. Body tone. I've kind of covered those already. Social structure. Uses, byproducts, and exploitation. See, this is where it's going to get interesting. Because part of my whole thing about this world is that there is a tendency towards ethical magical components, but there's obviously, where there's ethical magical components, there's black markets, essentially. Is one of the things the metamorphosis does, and does well. Okay. Keep in mind that these are meant as a general understanding. Languages, technologies can vary from one organization to another. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Naming traditions. Oh, I could have a lot of fun with naming traditions. Maybe because it is a lot to make in a short amount of time, like how we can only sprint for short periods, but we can still walk. Yeah. Yep. That makes sense. Beauty ideals, gender ideals, courtship ideals, relationship ideals. Attained technological level, major language groups. Okay, so they will have a language. Everyone gets their own language. Aranya. Let's do that. Arani is the language. Common etiquette, dress code. Customs and traditions, taboos, myths and legends. Oh, I could have so much fun with this. Alright, let's have a look at this. Refresh. Have I fixed the problem that I had? Let's do that before we get too deep in the... I don't love this CSS, but I really also don't want to get too deep into dealing with CSS, so I'm just gonna leave it for now. Okay, I'm trying to decide how far down this rabbit hole I want. I think I might just stop there. Just stop there, Jax. We can always fill it out a bit later. Okay. Next. We'll fill in the easy stuff and then what I'm gonna do is just add this in. What do you reckon? We put special skills and behavior? I don't know. Biological traits. I suppose we could do them there. They've got this oh, what have I done? Please hold while I figure out my bullshit. Okay. Yeah, but these are like these are things they can just do because of oh, I need to actually use this one because I changed the wording. Hang on. Please hold while I figure out what I'm doing. Climb. Spider climb. There it is. Oh no, that's fine. That's pretty much exactly what I had. Okay. Gonna have to put this in here too so that I don't lose track of what I'm doing. Aranya webbing. Okay, so I'm going to say that they can produce. Give me more thing. Did I make them? Are they small? I think I did make them small. So I'm going to say up to... Whoa! Whoa! What did I do? Ah! up to medium in webs, or block off a I make it 4x4. That feels like area. Trying to say like a 2-dimensional. 4x4 makes sense, right? Because if it's not a cube, it's a square. Okay, there we go. Just gonna put this into here. Cool. All right. Refresh. Put something in here. Okay. Okay. I reckon we can have a lot of fun with like customs and stuff. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna stop there. Calm. Otherwise, it's gonna take all fucking forever to get through them all. Okay. Let's go. The next one is Akadis. This is also like there's a lot of like real music in the real music. You know what I mean though? Like I made a playlist of copyright free stuff just for streaming purposes, and there's a lot of like it's not all just lo-fi bullshit. It's a lot of it is quite cool. Okay. Akadis. Akadis are how did I describe them? Spider shapeshifter people. Lizard like people. And are found across Azurhia. Anywhere where you may conceivably find lizards, you are likely to also find small Akadis community. Saw a typo. Where did I see it there? They tend to be small in stature and just answer the prompts. Just answer the prompts, Jax. Discovered by. Okay. They tend to be small in stature and covered in scales. They usually stand on 2 legs and are mostly humanoid they have lizard heads and claws. Claws? Lizards have claws, right? Show me pictures of lizards. Depends on the lizard, I guess. Lizard hands. Look at this guy, he's so cute. I love lizards, you guys. So cute. Look at them. Tiny little dragons. I got distracted by how cute they are. Okay. They have lizard heads and claws. Actually going to just leave this part out. Have lizard heads and claws. They are not shapeshifters. And sensory. What did I have here for them? Are able to see generalized emotions from smell. They can get a sense of that explains it well enough. And then they also have that one in here yet? I don't think I have. Oh no, I have. I have. Identifying that's a horrible sentence. Identifying the pheromones released due to intense emotion. Not necessarily. Okay. They are also able to sense heat sources. Then six blocks, 30 feet. By traditional TTRPG rules. But it means that we can just do everything by blocks on maps, which is much more reasonable, in my opinion. They're also able to see sense heat sources within 6 blocks of them. Yeah, that'll do. Okay. Genetics, growth rate. Just want to use the same wording so that it's consistent. Reach adult half after 10. Okay. Varies wildly, so I'm not going to get into that. And then we put the, yeah, so they have wow, my fingers don't want to spell J. Given time, an acodus can regrow a lost limb. It is a slow process. Blah 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 blah. Okay, and then the other one is lizard feet, which is basically the same as spider feet. Why do my fingers not want to spell today? Pretty much identical mechanically, but they can do it because of their lizard feet instead of their spidey feet. Cool. Average lifespan is 120 rotations. How much can they lose before the regeneration does not work? Oh, good question. I would say a limb. It says a limb, so an arm or a leg. The moment they get into like torsos, etc., then the answer is no, because then you're getting into organs. And I guess lizards would have tails, so tails, they can do tails too. So as long as no vital organs are hit, I guess is the answer to your question. They can't regrow their organs, but they can regrow limbs, extremities. Arms, legs, tails. That's the limitation. What else did we even put in here? Ecology. Correct. Tails, but not heads. You can't regrow your head. Your brain is gone. You are dead if your brain is gone. Oh my goodness, I can't believe that sentence just came into my mouth. Oh, ha ha ha, I see, okay. I see what you did there. Alright. Get rid of the edit one. I'm using this as a basis. So, body tone, coloring and marking. Everything varies. I like to leave people with lots of room to... Where did I put the... Oh, that's in this one, eh? I'm not going to worry about history right now. Naming traditions, blah, blah, ideals, blah. What should we call them? Arcade. Just arcade. At least I'm keeping the puns down to a bare minimum. Uh-huh. Why am I so surrounded by punsters? What is up with that? Seriously. I don't even know. Okay, let's have a look at this and see if it's completely ugly. Whoa. Ha! I got happy again. Oh. Missing some things. This is so like 90s. Why do I have so many? Because it didn't take when I clicked the thing. Like techno, ravey. Reminds me of my wayward youth. The most ancient form of humor that survives. Yeah. Yeah, I suppose. Doesn't mean I have to like it. Yeah, I got that. I got that. Okay. Refresh. Whoa. Why are you all kinds of... Where did I even... What? Perception and sensory capabilities. Oh, because I put the whole damn thing in. No. No! Better. Okay. Should probably be putting the languages in. as I go. Otherwise, I'm going to have to go back and do it later, and that's going to be a pain. What did we call Arani, right? Aran. Bro. Everything's a draft, so nothing is a draft. The whole point is that people get to watch me work, as it were. Language of the... Look at this. Curious as to if there's like extra stuff you get to put in for languages. Ah, World End was so good at this. Like, it just gives you so many spoken by. Oh, it doesn't recognize it as a... Okay, fair enough. Phonology, morphology, syntax, vocabulary. My little nerd heart is so excited that I can, like, create languages. Or at least the basics. And make a dictionary? Oh no, I should not have found this. Okay, no, I'm not even gonna go down this road right now. Okay, cool. So next, next, ancestries. Next one is Android. We need a linguist to join the horde. Guess what? I've never actually studied linguistics, but I was married to someone who had a master's in it for a long time, and I am extremely fascinated by language. And I love languages, and I love playing with languages, and I would have a lot of fun making up all that stuff. But that's a rabbit hole that will eat me for a year, given that every single one of these ancestries is going to have a language, probably. So, well, androids won't, because they'll just speak the language of whoever made them. I really hope we eventually get to go to Marama, because I have a lot of lore about Marama. A lot of lore about Marama. But it is also a very isolated and isolationist place. So programming is a language. True, true. But they are programmed. That doesn't necessarily mean they are programmers. Linguistics was one of my hardest anthropology classes. Fascinating but difficult. Yeah, I did one of my third year, maybe even honors year, philosophy courses was on the philosophy of language. And it was fascinating. Unfortunately, the lecturer was awful. And so it was very difficult to get my head around at the time. But it was cool. It was all about like how meaning is generated and how humans attribute meaning to these random sounds we make, and then how that evolves. So it becomes its own thing that evolves, and it's not like we have no control even over our language. Like our language evolves separate to us almost, or as a result of us. Which is why words change meanings, and why there's something very kind of prescriptive about insisting on holding on to meanings that have moved on from where they were. The word gay is an awesome example of that, because obviously originally, back in the day, gay just meant super happy. Now, if you call someone gay, you're not saying, gosh, you're having a really happy day, right? And yet there are some, like, I firmly believe that language evolves, and I firmly believe that you should evolve with it. But when people use the word decimate wrong, I want to smack them. So, you know, we all have our things. Anyway, you got me going on one of my passion things. All right, where are we at? androids, almost non-existent outside of Marama, beings created from mechanics and synthetic organs. Elegant and dexterous, as close to humanoid as a machine can get. So they are mostly they are not talking about reducing something by 1/10. Apparently that's not how people use that word anymore, even though it clearly is saying that if you know anything about Latin. Is that Latin or Greek? I don't even know. Deca. Latin, right? Pretty sure it's Latin. Maybe it's both. Oh, it's gonna bother me now. I look up etymology a lot. It is Latin. I was right the first time, and then I doubted myself. Okay. Androids are built to purpose, so their physicality depends a lot on what that purpose is or was. If they were built for fine work, they may be very slight and extremely dexterous. If they were built for heavy manual labor, they would be large and very strong. Androids are able to redirect resources to a particular sense for an hour per day. All checks using the sense are done at advantage, but all checks using the others are done at disadvantage. Androids are made, not bred. Growth rate. Adulthood. After a single rotation, during which they absorb information about their environment and knowledge and skills relevant to their function. They can live continue to function indefinitely given getting those line breaks in otherwise. Okay, ecology and habitat. Droids are a form of Maritech and therefore very rare outside of Marama. Given climate of Marima, they tend to be optimized for cold. However, depending on their original function, this may vary. We'll leave it at that. Okay, extended biological traits. Androids are immune. Disease and poison. Android can heal 1d6 for every 10 minutes spent at rest. Average lifespan indefinite with an asterisk. This is code for if you want to play an android, you're going to have to give me a very fucking good reason to reveal all my Marima lore ahead of time. I have a whole story about Marima waiting in the background that we never got to. So, what do androids do to recharge themselves? I guess they just go into a recharge cycle state. They are self-recharging. Maritech is very cool. Like, they still essentially have to have a sleep cycle. Maybe they're like solar powered. I'm working through the implications of that, because the problem with that is that Marima is essentially very, very north, which means, although 2-sun system, I'm going to have to ponder that one a bit, I think. Okay, history, naming traditions, organizations, major language groups. Snap, they speak the language of whoever made them, so they probably speak Mariman. Attained technological level. They are the attained technological level. They can convert heat into electricity. Something like that, yeah. Although, if you live in a place that's super snowy, maybe heat is not the way to go, hey? Maybe it's... Okay, you make a good point, you make a point, you make a point. I don't know. I feel like I need a bit of time with this particular species to get my head around it a bit. But oh, I need a thingy after the regeneration thing, which is here, I think. Line break, line break. Thank you. Ecology. Oh, where is it? First one. Yep. Sun themselves on a rock like a lizard. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Okay. Go and put Merriman in my language list. So much lore, man. And the problem is that because I have story related to Marima, I can't drop it all because I can't. Because spoilers. Spoilers. But there's a lot. There's a lot. I spent a lot of time working on that place because it was going to be important to the story. Funny topic for Android culture. How is the best way to heat themselves? Yeah. I imagine something very like the iRobot. Is it iRobot? The Will Smith movie? Like those kind of guys? But realistically, you're built for a function. So you would be it would vary. Like it would depend on what you were built for. You would be built to purpose. That makes sense, right? Oh, it's having a freeze. There we go. Could be fun. Anyway. Moving on. We don't want to get too bogged down, otherwise it's going to take a very long time. Next is Azurhia. A being born with a Fey spark is Azurhia. Any human race can beget an Azurhia child if there is any Fey heritage in the genes of either parent. Azurhia reach adulthood around 20 rotations and can live up to 140, though this can be influenced by their parents' ancestry. The Fey spark gives Azurhia higher dexterity than most. So essentially, Azurhia is a version of the like tiefling Aasimar way of looking at things, but it's Fey because hi, have you met me? Pop some line breaks in there. Okay. They could be anywhere. Okay, so Azurhia will often exhibit some Fey characteristics. This may include wings, 10A. Vibrant and colorful skin tones. Strange, uncanny eyes. I like uncanny eyes, can you tell? Any other Fey? A wealth of other things. Azurhia are as diverse as the Fey themselves. I imagine that, like, on Azurhia, those stories like Thumbelina and Tom Thumb, right? In those stories, on Earth, obviously, those beings are always like found in like nuts or like flowers or something. But on Azurhia, sometimes someone just births a tiny, tiny, tiny baby, and that's an Azurhia. Like they can just be like you're a perfectly normal, I don't know, elf, and boom, you got yourself a sprite baby. Okay. They have dark vision. Because the Fae have dark vision. I'm glad you approve. And typically live to I'm already being inconsistent in the way I'm talking about this, but whatever. Expectancy is 140. Rotations, though this can be in... No, it's not how Steve came about. Steve was a straight up old fashioned changeling. Swapped out. Somewhere in Fairy there is the real human Steve. Steve was a Gimmerling, though this can be influenced by their parents' ancestry. No, my headphones are blinking because the battery's dying, because they get used by other people in my house, and usually Adam's really good about charging them if he knows I'm streaming the next day, but I guess he didn't last night. So if I suddenly go silent, just let me know. We're close though. It's like 15 minutes to the end of the stream, so hopefully we can make it, and then I'll make sure they're charged for next time. So we have a couple of things for these guys. They have fairy resistance. But they keep beeping at me too. They're mad. Azurhia are resistant to the usual influences of being in fairy and do not need to make the saves required to avoid the effects of visiting there, and then What? I just told you to copy that. Oh. There we go. Treat. Whoa. No. Not this one. Really? Sorry, folks. Me and my language, eh? Okay. Affinity for nature. Okay. Nope, not you. You. Tree, naming traditions, major. They will speak the language of wherever they're born, so they don't really have a language of their own. Okay. Cool. That'll do for now. Alrighty. If my headphones die, I'm just gonna go away, just so you know. Assume that I said thank you and you guys are awesome for hanging out. Oh, yes, you're right. I do want to add a title to it, correct. Arvati. We haven't got out of the A's, folks. This is going great. Okay, so Arvati are with characteristics of shrews, moles, hedgehogs. Wow. Hedgehogs. I do have a lot of... I like A words. I just do. I've realized this over the years. If you think about my character names and how many of my major NPCs start with an A, like I don't know what to tell you. Shrews, moles, hedgehogs, etc. In my explanation over here, I've said, if they would fit into a Kenneth Graham or Beatrix Potter book, they are probably here. If you don't know who Kenneth Graham is, he wrote The Wind in the Willows. So this is one that will have probably, this will be the parent species, and there'll be varieties. So there would be like different versions for the different kinds of animals. But I don't want to get into that level of detail right now. When I'm actually building out the skill trees, which I'll probably be doing on Wednesday because it's a lot. Then I might start building some of that stuff in, but oh, that's a good question. Let's look at our map. Let's just look at our map. It's on my quick links because I've been looking at it a lot recently. So this is my very rudimentary map of Azurhia. I actually wonder if they're not Varen things. Because there's not actually a lot of places in Azurhia that is like England, you know? Because it's not high on my kind of way of looking at the world. Althea's the closest I get. Well, I suppose they could, but Althea's very like, this is all forest. You can't see it on the map because apparently I didn't draw it on, but this is all forest. Ejala is more like savanna style. I'm like, from a purely sort of climate version of things, it would either be Varen or Althea, but I feel like they don't fit in Althea. From what we've done about Althea, it doesn't really make sense. And Varen's whole, like, yeah, I'm gonna make them originally from Varen. No, it's not gonna let me do that. Create and link. Settlement, I guess? It's a kingdom. This is why I do this, because it forces me to think about these things. Arvoti historically originates in Varen, where fairy tale magic has evolved them into the sorts of beings you expect to find in storybooks. Many Arvoti rebel against this stereotype. Not appreciating the role the story magic of Varen assigns to them. I love that idea of, like, you know, you're supposed to be these happy little hedgehogs who, you know, live in the forest and hang up laundry. I say that because of the Beatrix Potter hedgehog. Rude more people. I don't know that it's rude so much. It's just like, I don't want to be a bit part in your story. Like, you can understand how people would not want that. It makes sense to me. There are probably still Arvoti communities in Varen who live quite happily in that role, but if you're going to meet an Arvoti out of Varen, they've probably gone, fuck this shit. I'm going to go make my own life, write my own story. And that seems reasonable to me. Okay. So... anatomy and morphology. Arvoti tend... and I show that to people by being rude to them. I suppose it depends. It depends how much of a fuck you give. Right? Like, oh, we're getting into Jack's philosophy here. But as someone who has often ended up being the villain in other people's stories, I don't care enough to be rude to them. Like, if that's where they want to put me, and I realize we're talking about something different, because Arvoti, their thing would be like, you're supposed to be these, you know, happy little hedgerow beings, like Beatrix Potter beings, and rebelling against that, they'd just be like, actually, nah, I'm gonna go to Trevorno and become a, I don't know, candy floss salesman on the beach, or whatever. I'm gonna go make my own life. That doesn't necessarily translate to rudeness. It might just translate. And also outside of Varen, those stereotypes probably wouldn't be as um, pervasive, because within Varen, everybody kind of, to one degree or another, is sort of forced to buy into that way of thinking because the magic there is so strongly pushes people into that direction. Um, but once you're out of it, like most people, if you're living in a world where there's lots of different kinds of animal people, you're not going to just assume that all hedgehog people are sweet little seamstresses or whatever. Tend to be small in stature. That's not how you spell stature. They upright and have characteristics of their animal cousins, usually exhibited as including form, faces, fur, feet, bill, spines. They're essentially like awakened animals in D&D, except that they're not awakened because they were always awakened. And so on. You get the idea. Okay, so we gave them heightened smell. Heightened smell. They woke up awakened, exactly. Arguably, a lot of humans are not awakened, so yeah. Then they have while underground, they can use earth sense to identify vibrations and potential cave-ins, collapses. There may be some others specific to the like the specific different, reach adulthood at 10 rotations. Typical life expectancy is 50 rotations. Sounds like Pratchett making a joke about spiritual revelation and how it related to good sleep. I will take that as a compliment. Because anytime someone compares me to Pratchett, I take it as a compliment because Pratchett was fucking dope. Alright. It should be. I don't even care if it was meant as such or not. It is one. Okay, average lifespan is 50 rotations. originated in Varen as a result of fairy tale magic. However, Arvati are now found across Azurhia. Line break, line break. Cool, alright. Sapiens, history, blah blah, Varen, blah. Varian? Varenian? Varenian. Veronese. Veronese? I don't know. All of them sound dumb. We'll go with Veronese and Arvatian. Arvatian. That'll do. Okay, languages. One of the reasons I'm enjoying this program, this Obsidian program so much is that it is great at updating things. So if you change something in one place, it updates it throughout, as long as you've linked it together right, and it is dope. I love it. What did we call it? Arvatian. Okay. Common etiquette, blah blah blah. That was my alarm, so I'm gonna just finish off these guys. I think that's probably them. A quick looky look to see how many line breaks I've missed. Yep, there's one. God damn it. Yeah. Boop boop. Boop boop. No. Yeah. Boop boop. It helps if you click on the right line break thing. Alright, refresh. No? Thought I literally just did that. I haven't done it on any of them. I'm so dumb. Okay. Extended. Yeah. Boop boop. Did that one. Okay. We're good. Bro. It's very inconsistent on how it reads line breaks, I've noticed. Sometimes it does it if you just press enter within the thing, and sometimes it doesn't. Okay, cool. So we got as far as Arvati. We didn't even get out of the A's, but that's fine. I am going to just show you what I've done here real quick because I'm very proud of it. So I've been starting to work on the ancestry skill tree. We started this in the last stream. So I've got all the ancestries in there, and I've started building them out. Oop, wrong button. So essentially, you pick an Aranya, you get one of these. I'm now going to have to add the weapon here, but that's fine. And now if I go into where I've put it in here, I can literally just do this and dump it in, which is so cool and makes it so easy to change stuff if I need to. Because I can now just do this, select all of this, move the whole fucking lot over a bit. I spent hours on this yesterday. Like I started noodling at it and then suddenly it was lunchtime. That's what happened. And the idea is, whoop, no, escape. The idea is that basically this is spelling out the logic of character creation. So you pick one and then it divides and divides down. And then anything that you auto get is in there, and then the ones that that you're going to go as you go along, it shows what your prerequisite is, and it shows how much it's going to cost you. So it's essentially, it looked like Neo jacking into the Matrix. Maybe, I don't know. I did not see my face. But yeah, it's the idea is that eventually this will become the logic that we use to make some sort of character creation tool. That's going to be a lot easier to look at than this, which is obviously enormous. But I did go in and do the giants. So we've got a whole bunch of different giants. They are all based on Zulu words because I like Zulu. But this means that as I think of new things, I can put them in really easily. And if I edit it here, it changes here. And if I edit it here, it changes here. And it makes me very happy. So that's just the ancestries. And then we're going to have to do backgrounds and expertise and stuff. But what I'm trying to do is build these things in so that they are easy to just apply across the board. So all the speeds are now done on as blocks. I made it run speed because it's, you know, the fastest you can go. But essentially 6 blocks is what would normally be 30 feet. So 6 blocks will be the default. That's kind of the standard, and then everything else works out from there. And obviously we can expand this as we go, like when we hit those monk people who can do 50,000 blocks in every action. Anyway, that's me for today. Thank you for hanging, and I'm kind of really excited about this, which is why I've been working on it not during this time, because I've spoken to a few people about it over the last little while, and everybody I speak to is like, oh my god, hurry up and get it done so we can play it. So that's cool to hear. It is very motivating that people actually want to play the game that I'm making up. And my goal is to get all the ancestry kind of skill trees mapped out pretty quickly. So I'm probably going to be working on it quite a lot this week, on and off stream. And then the backgrounds are going to be very instrumental because the backgrounds are where a lot of your initial skills are going to come from. So like, you know, if you grow up on the streets of Elder Castle, then you might have learned how to pickpocket, like that kind of stuff. And then yeah, then it's a very small step to starting to actually build characters and play with them. And I think that probably once we've got the ancestries and the backgrounds locked in, I'm probably going to do a little bit of a character building workshop with people to try and get a sense of where to go next. So it won't obviously be a complete character because those are just the beginning, but it'll be kind of a good place to trial run the way I've set up the building so that we can see if it's going to actually work or if we need to tweak it before we dive too deeply into what is essentially the class stuff. Yeah, so it's exciting and I'm excited about it. And on that note, I am going to skedaddle to my day job. Thanks for hanging. You guys are, as always, yeah, essentially level 0 characters. Yeah, just to give us a starting point of how well it's going to work, and whether it looks like in my brain is going to actually translate. So that's basically what we're going to do. And then we'll start working on the sort of class-based skills and what that looks like, which I keep changing my mind about. So we'll see where I land. And then, yeah, then we might actually be able to do some playing, which will be cool. So yeah. Fun adventures to run with level 0. Yeah. Yeah, it'll be cool. Yep, so that's where we're at. I'm excited. I'm very hyper fixated on it right now, and I don't want to do anything else. So it's making going to work really hard when I just want to sit here and do this for hours. But it's fine. Here I go to be a grown-up. Responsible, stupid grown-up. I love you guys. Thank you for hanging. And as always, have a beautiful time zone wherever you are. Love you lots. Bye.